Good.
Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy fans. It is Joe in the pilot seat, and believe it or not, we are on chapter 225 of the Rule the Galaxy podcast. We have been going strong since January 2020, believe it or not. That's really hard to think about. It's a really great show tonight. It's a special show tonight because we have a special guest. But before we get to our special guest, which if you're watching us live, you see her already, I always like to introduce the guys who are my rocks, the guys who keep this show going. And Alfie can't be here tonight. Brent will probably be late if he shows up as usual. But the rock star, D-Doc, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Crazy day. Tiling a shower today, and I have junk all over my hands. So if you see stuff on my hands, I did get a shower after work today. It's just like I grouted a shower today, and my hands are like stained from it. So, yeah,
Understood.
fun times. I literally was sitting there scrubbing them, just like, you know what, I don't even care. And I ran down here. So that's what I was doing right before I got down here. I'm always sprinting down the stairs to get in here for the podcast, but I'm ready to go.
Well, I tell you what, before we hop to our special guest, I'm going to throw out my fun stuff. Right before we got on here, yeah, I was doing the boring stuff of walking the dogs, but right before that, my son and my daughter-in-law came over with my grandson, and they made the announcement that baby number 2 is on the way, and we're going to have a little granddaughter. So
Let's go.
yes. So my first grandson is here. My second grandson from my daughter will be here in November, and now baby number 3, little baby girl, will be here next year. So it's an exciting time. I feel like I'm getting old way too fast. So, but that's enough about me. Anybody who's watching the show tonight, listening to the show tonight, or listening to the podcast tomorrow will know that our real reason to be here is because we have the one and only Miss Vanessa Marshall. Vanessa, thank you for being a part of the Rule the Galaxy podcast.
Joe, thank you so much for having me. Nice to see you. Dave, I am honored to be here. Finally, we've been trying to do this for quite some time. I appreciate your patience, and you do not look old enough to have grandchildren. I just don't even understand how that's possible, but happy to be here. I'm joining you from my new streaming studio. This is where I hope to do Women Crush Wednesdays to start. And this couch behind me is where I'm going to feature various voiceover ladies who are in the games with me, Kari Walgren, Jennifer Hale when she's in town, Julie Nathanson, Anjali Bhamani, all kinds of Star Wars nerds / gamers. And this is where the fun's going to happen. I want to say I got the fridge because you need to have the snacks. So
you gotta have them.
Yeah, so I'm building it up, building it out. I don't know if you can see. I have my, hold on, that won't work. Over here, do you see that picture back there? That's me in 11th grade, killing it with a mullet. So that's
awesome.
That's the vibes of my stream, just FYI.
Well, you in one of your emails yesterday as we were finally planning stuff, that picture was in the email, and I thought, I got to know the story of who that is. If that's her.
Did I send you that yesterday?
It was accidentally like a snapshot of whatever in one of your emails to me. And I was like, I don't know if that's supposed to be there, but there's a picture of a person with a mullet. And can't tell if it's her.
My phone's screensaver. I mean,
that is awesome.
Dude, long live the mullet. And I have a merch store that has a candle with my mullet shot that says, worship the mullet. I mean, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not into like sacrilege or anything, but it is a great mullet. So I think we can all light a candle to the mullet in general, and specifically from 11th grade for me.
Vanessa, we're very similar ages. D-Doc's the youngster here. He's actually a year or two older than my son, who's having his second child. But you and I grew up in that time frame when that hairstyle was rocking. I think I had, what was it? Not New Kids. I don't know, NSYNC or New Kids. I had the curly mullet with the little rat tail looking thing in the back.
Oh yeah.
So
I've seen the old pictures of Joe, and he looked like he was a good time. He really does. He looked like he could have you could have put him straight into Stranger Things, and he would have just blended in right away. He would have been fine.
I feel like it's a time before we knew what sunscreen was.
Oh yeah.
It's just when we would just burn ourselves and be like, yeah, woo, I miss those days of mullet juice.
Mullets and burnt skin and jean
Yeah,
shorts and
all of it.
all of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it was good times, good times.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
again, thanks for being here. And I guess and there's Mr. Brent. Brent is joining the show.
Woo!
First of
Let's
all, I
go.
join in and I hear about mullets, and I want to know what did I just
Let's
miss?
go.
Show the picture
Let's
again,
go.
Miss Vanessa.
All right, buddy. Well, here we go. It's
Because
probably easier to show you. Hold on.
if you haven't seen teenagers,
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
oh,
You know, I mean, in a weird way, it's almost like what I'm saying is like, yeah, I'll wear your private school uniform, but I'm also gonna
Yeah.
make my hair stand on end and
Love
wear
it.
this peacock eyeshadow, like
yeah.
And I'm a
That's great.
full-blown nerd. Don't get it twisted. I am an absolute nerd. It's not like I was a hardened criminal or anything.
Well, you haven't seen the preteen teenagers right now because that style is making its way back into popularity.
Let's
I don't
go.
know.
Let's go.
I
As
mean-
it should. Yeah.
I mean, the Kentucky mud flap is large
Yeah,
in
man.
charge in Indiana school
Yeah.
system.
Live the dream, buddy.
Yeah, Vanessa,
Yeah.
sorry, you're roped in with three guys. Well, two guys from Indiana and one guy from the Philly area. So,
Hey, how you doing?
but Vanessa, I'm not even sure we deserve, to be on this with you. I mean, we've got a
What do you
Princeton
mean?
grad, a New York
Oh,
University master's degree.
Dude.
Come on.
Look, what I do between Star Wars movies is just what I do between Star Wars movies. Come on now. Yeah, I mean, this is like my collection light behind me, and I'm like I said, I'm still building my studio. There's not much down here. Like upstairs, I have a gajillion. I mean, DDoc, genius. I love what's going on behind everyone.
Oh,
at the moment.
everyone loves what's going on behind DDoc. I got shamed into coming in and trying to put something in my background.
Oh, dude.
I had curtains the other night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
My
Well-
stuff was in storage for so long, and I said I was going all out when I had the space for it. So
Yeah.
I did it when we got this, so.
Well, the thing is, my stream is a different angle. It's really more like that, but I couldn't put this laptop where my whatever. Look, we're family here. We're good.
Hey,
Right.
we are already getting comments on the show. First of all,
Oh.
Headless Ned, who you're going to be on a show with him
Oh,
soon.
of course, yeah.
Headless Ned saying let's go, and he's
Let's
chiming
go.
in here.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, so he's a great guy. He was at ICCC with us as
Yes,
well. So I
yeah.
love getting the comments. Thank you for everybody. Matt Tween, thank you for joining in. But Vanessa, I'm going to start if that's okay. I'm just
Go
going to
for
start
it.
throwing things at you because
Sure.
I think all of us nerded out. We were going through your IMDb and making sure, oh my gosh, look at all these things she's done.
Sure.
So I guess one of the things I'm looking at is what made you or motivated you to start or want to get. I know you had parents who were in the entertainment industry and out in front of people and things like that. Was that your motivation, or did you say, hey, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I want to do? Or was it a combination, or what?
Well, as you said, I did grow up in an entertainment family, and I think that actually made me flee from the business more than want to dive into it further. It seemed mildly corrupt and sort of vapid and empty. And I went back east to go to school because people there, I felt, cared more about Star Wars. And by that I mean what goes in that comment is I care about storytelling. I know that this is the capital of storytelling as far as film goes, and that's why I returned here ultimately. But I felt like I wanted to quench my thirst for all the literature in the world that I could possibly read. And I did that at Princeton in New Jersey. And my father was a news reporter. My mom is an actress. I did a lot of stand-up comedy. And that to me is sort of the combination of those two things. I'm commenting on society almost sort of like as an anthropologist, if you will. So I'm reporting what I see, like my dad might, but it's colored with imitations of people and how they spoke, not as affectation, but as this is how I explained to you what I just went through. And so stand-up comedy was really the perfect place for me, sketch comedy, kind of like SNL.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a one-woman show that was all about me being plus size model. I used to weigh 50 pounds more than I do now. I'm maintaining a 50-pound weight loss for over 20 years. And forgive me if you heard this before. But the thing is, I did a one-woman show about what it was like to grow up in Los Angeles with all the pressure to be thin. My mom was a size 0, was rewarded for her size. And I was always kind of more like my Italian father. I like to eat a lot of food, hence the refrigerator within arm's reach. And now I'm more like an athlete. I box and hike and run and all this, whatever. And but a voiceover agent came to see the one-woman show and saw, whoa, you did all these characters. You might be best served doing animation. Went in, read for her, and started booking work. And it was sort of a matter of going where the love was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it happened. I wanted to tell stories, whether they are 30-second commercials or 2-hour animated films or, 30-minute narration documentary. I like to get at the truth, and I like to try and understand people and why we do what we do. And that's why I think I've loved Star Wars so much, because I think that space opera so elegantly gets at these issues of human struggle and that kind of questing. And I feel like that's what brings us all together. Like when I met you at Nashville, it was as if I'd known you my whole life. And I am sort of like that with New York Giants fans. I'm a huge New York Giant fan, and I hope to go to MetLife in October and see another game. But I treasure that as well. How these different fandoms can bring us together in a culture that seems to be somewhat warring in most parts and ways. So anyway, it was kind of by accident, a happy accident, and I'm grateful that it happened. And I frankly feel more comfortable being invisible in the world, whereas celebrities like my mom are more sort of well known, and they have to face being in the public eye, and really no one knows who I am. I mean, and I've said this before. There's one dude who works at Albertsons who has a Boba Fett keychain. It's a slave one, and I'm always like, yo, man, what's up? But other than that, and he's like, like he knows I voice Hera and animated stuff, and I try and nice him with some Blu-rays, and I don't, we take care of each other. But anyway,
it's a great community when people let it be one, for sure.
Man, 100%. I take what I like and leave the rest. I don't know anything about all the other strange parts of it. I know what I love and celebrate. So
you got it. Brent, go ahead.
Yeah, so you mentioned weight loss journey, and I can sit here and I can vouch for all of that. I was at one time 450-ish pounds.
Oh my gosh. Wow, man.
I'm currently riding at about 300. So I understand where you're at. And like I've gone up and down because of the stressors of life and all that stuff.
Sure, of course.
But with that, you mentioned the word kickboxing and then also trying to do some deep dive. I was floored with Muay Thai. Like out of all of the different disciplines.
100%.
And like ranked, like, are you like actually MMA Muay Thai?
Bro, let's go. Bro. Do you even lift, bro? Let's go.
I mean, I'm scared now because my shins hurt just thinking about Muay Thai.
Yeah, no, I got a mean kick to the face that you never see coming. I'm pretty intense. I can handle myself. I'm not a violent person, but I will protect my friends. I will protect my friends.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. I went to a gun range, and I hope it's okay to talk about this without triggering anyone. Sorry to use that
Two
word.
of us are in Indiana. There's guns right across the street. We're good.
But here's what's interesting. A friend of mine invited me to go. I said, okay, this will be an interesting lesson. And I, at the time, was playing Wonder Woman and Black Canary and all these characters that utilize weapons. And I have my MMA training and whatever else, but I don't necessarily have any training in that. But when I picked up the gun and tried to fire it, it was not great at first. But then I thought about, and this is actually what I thought about for my audition for Hera. There are certain people or things that are marginalized and have been needlessly victimized. And I feel a deep need to protect and care for them. And the minute I specified the need to protect, I literally did 3 here and 3 here. And I realized I am not if you give, I'm not, my dad said, hey, maybe you should have a bat in your bed, just in case you blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Dad, I'm not going to beat some dude who comes in the room. And then a friend of mine said, you know what? If there was a kid with you, you would definitely beat the crap out of someone. I said, well, yeah, for sure. And they said, well, maybe it's time to care about yourself in the same way. And I thought, well, that's an interesting premise, but I'm not wired that way. But I'm grateful to know that I have the capacity to protect myself and others. So it's valuable for me in that regard. I don't own any firearms, so it's not like I'm going to have an opportunity to protect myself in that way. But
what took you to Muay Thai though? What was it about?
Dude.
I'm floored by this. If you can't
bro,
what took you to Muay Thai? I mean, I get the protective and I get that protective nature, but what drew you to the Muay Thai stuff?
Well, I did Aikido jiu-jitsu, and then we got to the blue belt, and then there were like sweaty dudes, or no, yellow. And the sweaty dudes were like on top of me with the sweat dripping off their nose, like it's almost going to drop right on you. And I was like, bro, tap out. I'm out. This is disgusting. There's not enough Clorox in the world to save me from your perspiration. I got to go. And then they were like, well, maybe you'll like Muay Thai because there's no tussling, right? It's just repeated shin beatings.
God. Yeah.
So I tried Muay Thai instead. I also tried French Savate kickboxing, then just straight up boxing. And then the MMA stuff, which is a little bit grapply. I'm not into the whole wrestling thing. That's exactly. Anyway.
Are those your hellhounds, Brent?
Yes. My daughter just got home. And
oh, cool.
Yes.
Anyway.
They are designer mutts, by the way. They're
nice.
D-Doc, by the way, are we better? Are we good?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, good. D-Doc, Brent and I have asked some questions. Do you have one keyed up that you want to throw at Miss Vanessa?
Well, I mean, I have one that's kind of like I guess it's technically a big one with what's coming out. I mean, what's your anticipation for the Ahsoka show and to see Hera being brought into live action? I mean, she has to. I mean, she's your baby. You know what I mean? You and Filoni's baby. It's like,
well,
what's it like to see this handing off of the torch, I guess, or seeing it in live action?
I'm not sure what I'm allowed to comment on that. Not because of my not being involved in the project, but simply I stand with the actors. Obviously, we're on strike, and I stand with the writers who are on strike, and I'm able to talk about animation because those contracts are not up for negotiation, but the on-camera stuff is, and my enthusiasm is so great that I tweeted out, "Let's go," on one of the trailers, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to do that." But previous to this, I have said that I am beyond thrilled. And I believe it was at Celebration last year when they played a trailer and everyone thought it was my back. And, is that you? And no, it's not. And, Filoni stood up and he said, no one is more excited about this than Vanessa Marshall. And it really warmed my heart. The whole room stood up and cheered. And that, I played my part. But here's the thing. There's King Lear. There's Masha. There are all these great roles. They're iconic roles that have been written by playwrights, and this one by Dave Filoni. And I did my part of bringing it to life in this iteration, but I have no ownership over anything really that I do. And I don't, I play Wonder Woman. And for me, I find the best Wonder Woman is Susan Eisenberg. I adore her Wonder Woman. There's no, there's no hater energy in the voiceover community that I'm aware of, at least not on my end. And my feeling is such that I got a piece of copy for Harley Quinn for something else, not the Harley cartoon that I'm in. And I called Tara Strong and I was like, I'm not reading on this. And she said, why? You should. I said, absolutely not. You are Harley Quinn. I'm not doing it. And that's how we are with each other is if I get a piece of copy and I'm like, who could knock this out of the park? Kari Walgren would be amazing. Whatever it is, but that, those are the vibes that sort of prevail as far as the animation side of the street goes. And the rules are that much like Saw Gerrera was played by Andrew Kishino in the Clone Wars, and then on camera, was played by Forrest Whitaker, those are the rules. Like the on camera is kind of the wild, wild west. It's not now. Look, I'm so glad that Cad Bane stayed Cad Bane. You know, I'm so grateful to see Zeb. I would have loved to have done it, but I'm also humbly grateful to have done anything at all, and completely psyched to see it. I can't even tell you how excited I am.
Cool.
So yeah, I feel like we're in good hands, not only with Dave Filoni as always, but of all the people they could have chosen, I absolutely love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I so respect her work. And my God, she's married to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Guys, we're good. We're good. So excited.
So I will say this: if we trip up and ask something again like that, feel free to, hey, remind us, because we're just three goofy guys who talk about Star Wars on the podcast.
Of course. Yeah.
And we don't know the rules of the game, but we're here to play. So so one thing that I wanted to ask you, Brent, right here, one of our co-hosts, has always said that Rebels was that story of found family, right?
Yes.
It was bringing all these different individuals together to make a family by the end of that. And I will stand by it and say that Rebels, for my money's worth, is some of the best story growth for for characters across a time frame of any Star Wars we have. So how do you feel about the work? I mean, the group. I mean, I know we saw you at ICCC, and a lot of the group was there, and you get to be with them and hang and talk and everything. Is it really like that family feel even in real life?
100%. 100%.
That is great.
Yeah, and it always has been. I mean, they really chose each and every one of us so specifically. You know, I've said this before, but Taylor came to it with a true lack of awareness of anything Star Wars at all, which was lovely because Freddie is like a walking Wikipedia. Like that guy with Sam Witwer, it's just like, what do you need to know? Those guys are on it. And, as far as like a Jedi and a Padawan is concerned, their relationship was very much like that. Tia and I are always talking sports scores, and I mean, given that she's this sort of feisty Mandalorian character and very artistic, it was very true to form. And I've said this before, that I was always sort of the nurturer in the group, and Hera's the space mom, and again was so focused on the mission at hand that she wasn't into all the frilly romance stuff until, of course, the very end, which was an amazing arc. As you say, it was a beautiful progression. And then, of course, her loss, spoiler alert, her loss. And by the way, kind of loved his erstwhile mullet. His last hair was pretty fly. Yeah, it was harder to say goodbye with his excellent haircut. But although the character didn't seem to appreciate. She's like, her hair looks funny. But anyway, yes, I think that we were all very much like our characters, and that love and that spirit, when we see each other, it's as if no time has passed at all. So we're very lucky to have all come together, and we will forever and ever. And that's just the beauty of it. And much like you see the Clone Wars actors this many years later at conventions and stuff like that, the love is real. Star Wars family is real.
Cool. Good. Brent.
Oh, well, it had there, and it was there until you said Star Wars family is real, and then it took me out. But
sorry, buddy.
Did you guys do anything? Once everybody had the job? Did you guys have like time where you were together to build the camaraderie? Did you do like I don't know, like the trust groups, or like a relationship building trip, or do something to build the bond, or was it just in the booth and working in the booth together?
I think it was mostly working in the booth together. We had a few dinners. We also eventually went up to Skywalker Ranch, and that was like a pilgrimage to Mecca. I almost died. And we also ended up playing a bunch of role-playing games, Age of Empire, and bonding that way. Tia wasn't really into all that. She thought it was akin to like Ren Fair and like pantaloons and things like that, which, I guess to be fair, it can be. But I mean, we weren't like, Nedananko, we weren't doing all that. I mean, there was some flowery acting going on. But anyway, Sam Witwer was a great DM, and we had a ton of fun together. And yeah, it goes on and on. We're doing a bunch of conventions together. I believe it's called WUW or UWU. I'm not sure. There's a convention in Mesa, Arizona. I should know the name of it. I've posted about it. At the end of October, we'll be in Mesa, Arizona together. Freddie will be there. Tia. I don't know who else is who lives in that area by any chance, but come say hello. Let's see if I can find the exact. Where is it? Here it is. It's even UWU Con. Yeah, that's it. Okay, UW. The logo. It's rather confusing. You know what I mean? No offense. I don't mean. But anyway, I don't care what it's called. It could be called Living in a Shoe. I would be there as long as the rebels are there. That's all I need to know. So I'm very, very grateful.
D-Doc, you got another one lined up for us?
Well, I guess one I could think of is it's like you're a fan of Star Wars just like us. When you were like going to do the role of Hera, were you like, oh my God, this is Star Wars. Like I need to knock this out. Like what was it? Now, was it like technically like I guess they do auditions for that or where they were like, we want you for this role technically?
Oh, no. There was a read for something. The project was called Wolf. I didn't know what it was. It talked.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It talked about a sun sword. And I was like, sun sword? I didn't think it was Star Wars, but I was like, I know from sun swords. I know how to make this specific for me. So I made it a Star Wars story in my mind when I did the audition and had no idea that it was a Wolf project. And okay, fine. Dave Filoni, the Wolf Pack, I know, but it didn't connect for me at all. But as I said before, I do care about communities that are marginalized, and there are certain things that were going on in that time frame. And I plugged into the Star Wars stuff, and I plugged into what was going on socially at the time. That this character I was specifically voicing was working to do the right thing and stand up for what was right. And I tried to do that in my own life, but here was an opportunity on paper to really give it a solid try. And I did, and I got a call back, and Dave Filoni was in the room at the callback. That's when I had a heart attack. And I went to acting drama school at NYU. I have a master's in acting, so I was able to be a professional. And, I framed the parking pass because I thought it was the best my life was ever going to get, was the callback. And it was between me and two other women. And I waited, and then they went with me. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am. Yeah, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, period. Full stop.
Awesome.
So I'm curious about the audition process. And this is, I think, taking a little bit of one of our guest stars, Alfie's question. And Dr. Squatch, who also put into our comments section, I'm going to kind of pull it in.
Oh, cool.
His question was, what is your thought process when voicing Hera? But the question that I'm going to kind of ask is, how much in your audition, how much did you get? Is it a paragraph? Is it 5 pages? Is it a whole episode? And so how much detail did you get of her to be able to build the character? So it kind of takes all of those things in.
Really, really rough sketches. She's the silent leader of the group who has chosen this ragtag bunch of individuals to carry out a mission. And she's both stern and capable of protecting herself and very nurturing. And it's, it was 1 page long. It was about 5 different lines that covered like a call to action, a motivational speech that I believe was said to Kanan. I'm not sure, but it seemed, in hindsight, that's what it seemed to be. And all of the Star Wars language was filtered out. So, it was just that she was a strong female character and cared very much about a cause. And that's those are the motivations that I played. And again, I plugged into my Star Wars stuff, and I plugged into things that were going on in the world that I wished I could make a difference and do something about. And it worked out.
I would say it did. So Alfie has a question for us, and he sent it over to us, like Brent said. Where is it? Goodness, I just had it.
It's the difference between squadrons and is that question,
Yeah.
Joe? Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes,
so you voiced squadrons in the video game. Was there a different approach? Did you have to go into a different space? How did you re-tap in? How was it doing Squadrons Hera versus Rebel Hera?
It was incredibly different insofar as Hera I could read, and Squadrons I had to memorize. And I haven't done on camera because I did the mocap for it.
Oh.
So I was on a mocap stage interacting with the other actors, and it was all live and to memory. And it wasn't just, so it was, I had to use muscles I hadn't used in a long time. I used to do on camera acting and was happy to do it, but it was a different process for me. And I don't know if I answered the question that was posted in the chat per se, that I definitely tried to bring out the parts of myself that are most like Hera for every session that I could. And basically, Rob Paulson is an incredibly talented voiceover actor. And every time he gets in front of the microphone, he says, "God, please help me get out of your way." And so I tried to get out of my own way and believe that I have that capacity for goodness in me and really just play that full out. I think our humanity causes us to feel things like fear and doubt and taking things personally and all the 4 agreements that we're not supposed to do. But Hera seems to be pretty on track. And so I just tried to discipline myself to reveal those elements of my own personality. I've also said this before, my father is a pilot, and I care very much about flight and have such respect for it and the amount of perspective that it gives to be up above. And I really do understand her love of flight for that reason. But anyway, just to circle back to that question.
Also, you said your father's a pilot, and I think I read that you were flying in a biplane, like in open-topped biplane, like 1950s style, like
$100,000. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You again, Muay Thai, and now flying in an open cockpit. You have
like
a lot
Snoopy.
more moxie than I do.
Sure. Here's the thing. I dared my dad. My dad retired from doing news reporting at KNBC here in Los Angeles. And I dared him to get a pilot's license. And not only did he get one, he also decided to learn how to do aerobatics. And and got the Snoopy plane, like the Baron von Wacky Doodle open cockpit biplane plane. And I was like, wait, what? And so I went up flying with him, and he was about to do a maneuver. I didn't know this, and he cut the engine.
Oh, did it stall on you?
Well, I thought, did he just pass? I was like, Dad. And I could hear just the air and the wind blowing on the strings that were sort of holding this thing together. And I was like, wow, man, this is really not how I saw this ending. And
my heart is in my throat right now.
Yeah, no. And of all the ways to lose a parent, I just was like, this is so not cool. And all of a sudden he just like did a nosedive, and then we started spiraling. And when you get enough speed spiraling down, then you go back up again. And he was like, woohoo! And I was like, you seriously, Dad? Yeah. So that's my father, and that's flight. And I don't know, as I've gotten older, I'm not as much of a Space Mountain seeker. I have become more like, oh God, can't you hurt yourself if you do that? Me, I don't know. I'm a little more like, oh, my neck. I'm not like a mini goat or anything, but I used to be a little more like, yeah, let's jump in the biplane. Let's not even consider the fact that you're not wearing a parachute. Let's not even think about it. Let's just go. I guess that's more in the like mullet juice days of yore, where like, not the brightest bulb. Like, really, dude, What are you doing?
By the way, anybody who is listening to this podcast, you need
You're
to go
missing.
to Rule of the Galaxy
Yep.
on YouTube and see this picture of Vanessa Marshall. It
Yeah.
is.
Well,
chef's kiss.
here's the thing. Yeah, if you want, if you come to my live stream, I will be live streaming from my room. I'm on Twitch, but
Oh, it's right there in the
pictures-
corner.
Yeah, buddy, you came late, so we
It's
did
like straight
show
up
and tell.
glamour shots.
Yo, well, this one I found. This one, my mom. I don't know what she did. The one down below here, my mom like put magenta eyeshadow, and I was like, "Mom, what is that?" And okay, great, it's going on the wall. I don't know. And then my 11th grade yearbook photo, where like my hair, I said, was a cry for help that went unanswered. Yeah, I've kind of just decided to go with that vibe here in my streaming studio. And of course I have like, this is from a gift from Lucasfilm for being in the Clone Wars.
That is
I don't know if you
awesome.
can see that. Yeah, that was
Fantastic.
got to play Rook Cast in the final season. That was epic. Oh wait, there's like a little blue light. There we go. Anyway, this is my fun room because I think you have to decide to make it fun.
Everybody's got to have one. You have to have a
Yeah.
release, right? Just a little place to get away.
Yeah.
So I had a couple things, and
Sure.
if I'm way off on this, you guys all catch me. But I'm looking at dates and times here, and Lucasfilm was bought by Disney in 2012, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebels, A New Dawn. Sorry, Star Wars A New Dawn. The book came out in September of 2014, and then Rebels came out in October of 2014.
Mhm.
So before the new movies, before anything, your character, you were kind of that lead, like you said, mother figure, leader of the group. You were one of the initial voices of the new era of Star Wars. Do you sit back and like pinch yourself and say, wait a minute, like Mark Hamill in 77 and Ewan and you know, Hayden in the late 90s, and you were a part of this same kind of thing, but in this genre of it?
100%. Yes. I really was so thrilled. Like we did, I believe it was New York Comic-Con, and we could I don't even think it had come out yet. I did Star Wars weekends before the show had even come out. We were already welcomed into the fold by Lucasfilm, and it was just such an honor. And then San Diego Comic-Con 2014 was a life-changing experience. We became a part of the Mandalorian community. The 501st inducted us in, I think it was the first celebration that we went to as a group. And it's just been one magical memory after another. And yes, I was honored to be in A New Dawn, which I thought was just a fantastic book. It really was a treat to read how that all came together, her relationship with Kanan and her choosing him.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
We can talk Star Wars all night, but you've got a shorter time. You've got to get that phone fixed. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned live things. Like I know you did the sketch and the stand-up. My son's doing that right now. We're on a small tour. I'm going with him on some tours here in the Midwest.
Oh, cool.
Stand-up and sketch comedy.
Great. Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to be around that.
Yeah.
But like on camera, as acting, were there certain bits you did or spots you did where you feel like, wow, I really enjoyed that on camera portrayal that I did? Were there?
Well, you know, it's funny. I seem to have a signature move in the world of commercials, and it looks like this. If that is necessary on any, okay, so Ross Dress for Less had a commercial where the husband wanted to play golf everywhere, in the restaurant, in the thing, and every time they would cut to the mom going like that. That's all I had to do. They fed me like Cuban food and catering and this and that. All I had to do was roll my eyes with contempt. And I was like, wow, I feel kind of rude, but all right. So, you know, Alan Iverson has his move. Like mine is this sort of weird judgy eye roll that I do. That was a lot of fun to do that. I got to play a number of poignant characters at NYU, you know, anything from Chekhov to Shakespeare. Brecht and all sorts of Commedia dell'arte characters, and that's more in sort of a theatrical regard as opposed to an on-camera experience. I kind of did the eye roll in an episode of Law and Order. I was, they have like 10,000 people that they interview, and I was like an intern or something, and Chris Noth thought I was guilty, and I was like, I type 100 words a minute. So I kind of got it in there too. I don't know, buddy. So like, if you have any like eye roll needs, call me. But
okay, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I would have loved to have explored more of the on-camera stuff, but I just had so much more fun doing voiceover and feel really at home with my colleagues. So it's all good.
Hit it, Brent.
So you mentioned the live stream. So like the live stream is going to be you live streaming video games that you've voiced over.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So couple things. You've mentioned before you're a nerd. When did your nerddom towards video games start? Was it prior to voiceover or after the voiceover of
after the voiceover?
Okay.
In the pandemic, I realized that I've been in over 122 video game titles, and I have no idea. Like, I found out that I was Samus in Metroid Prime. I mean, I know I did these jobs. I got invited to a Mass Effect convention, and I said, why? And they said, because you're in all 3 Mass Effects. I said, I am? Wow, that's pretty cool. I want to play those. So Courtney Taylor is hopefully going to come over, and we're going to try to play Mass Effect together. And of course, I'm not great at these games, but recently I was live streaming playing Metal Gear Solid 2 or Peace Walker, and or both. I don't know. We were messing around with both. I created, I didn't create the event, but I helped create the vibe of it. They asked me to do an event called Metal Gear Solid Con, MGS Con, and my agent put it together, but I volunteered to do it for free if they would raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project, and we did. And it was a lovely experience for the fandom. And I think that's sort of what I'm trying to do right now with my life, is I want to have fun and I want to pay it forward. And much like I played the video game Metal Gear Solid that I was in, and we had an event for that fandom, and I got all the voiceover actors in the game to come, and everyone brought their figures and they all got signed. And it was a really, really special day. People had tears in their eyes saying how much it meant to them. I feel like we all need to know that we matter, and that we're cared for and about. And I do feel that very deeply for the various fandoms that I've been in. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love DC. The Young Justice community has been incredible. But anyway, so I decided to create this streaming night for Women Crush Wednesday. And I want to have the various artists over. I'm Shiva in Mortal Kombat. And I am Black Canary in Injustice 2. And I want to play these things. I'm the caretaker in the new Marvel Midnight Suns game. So I want to give that a whirl and have the various actors over here on my luxurious couch. And, we're both going to stream and play the games. And like I said, there's a fridge with a ton of Monster and whatever else you need. But we're going to hang out, and I'd like to raise money for different charities with each stream. And I had the privilege of working with DreamHack in San Diego, helping them with different video game activations. And we did, I think it was a Tekken blindfold match where I played blindfolded, and a guy told me how to play the game if he was directing me from behind. But we raised $41,000 for the Autism Society. And in Dallas, we raised a bunch of money for the American Heart Association. And that was the weekend that Diablo came out, and all the Diablo voice actors were there, and I was able to help interview them. I kind of feel like I'm utilizing my stand-up skills again to host these esports events and, really help make the time more of a magical experience. I know most of the gamers that go are obviously in love with the gamers who are there to play in the various brackets, but it's also fun for them. It blows their mind when, we would drop into their live stream and Shiva and I'd go, "For the show, Khan," and they'd be like, "Ah!" So we all play well together, and I hope to go to DreamHack in Atlanta in December, and I hope to bring my Women Crush Wednesday chicks with me. And I'm not sure which video game we'll play there, but we will. We did a Halo panel, bunch of fun things in Dallas. So it's this wild west. For a long time ago at Comic-Cons, voiceover actors were not a part of it, and we're very much a part of animation. So why wouldn't we be? Well, now it's a foregone conclusion, but I feel like, why aren't we at these esports events for the same reason that we're in these video games? And it's not about our egos, but it's about, let's help the fans have the most magical experience that they can. Not like how San Diego Comic-Con became this place for, Chris Hemsworth to show, it's not about that. We love the story. We love the characters. Like The Last of Us is a spiritual experience. It's not just it's a video game, but fans of that game care deeply about it. I mean, and the show on HBO was a symphony, an ode to it. It was brilliant. But anyway, I feel like these games can bring us together. I know there's a dark side to the internet, but there's also a wonderful side in which we can amplify each other and unite us with our similarities instead of focusing on our differences. And I hope to do that in some small way. The other thing I hope to do is do some RPG stuff with Freddie and Sam Witwer. Again, I might have another night where I stream with them, not here, but we'll do that, remotely, virtually. So there's all kinds of fun stuff for 2024, you guys. Stay tuned.
We're looking forward to it. D-Doc, Brent and I, as usual, always ask way too many questions. You hop in there. You got something else for us?
Well, I'm actually reading the comments section now, and not to put you on the spot, but Headless Ned asked, what is your favorite game of all time? What is your favorite game of all time? Which is a tough question. I'm terrible at all-time questions.
Favorite game of all time? Well, I must say Metal Gear has a really special place in my heart. I had never seen anything like that at the time. I was horrible at playing it. I prefer to play Madden or NHL.
Yes.
NHL,
are we Islanders? You said you were Giants. Are you an Islanders fan? What are you?
Here's the weird thing. I love Jersey Devils, but I'm also happy to watch any game. Like I love the Penguins. I love any team that like gives it a good
Pittsburgh
go.
Guy up there. Are you a
Flyers
fan, D-Doc?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a Flyers fan, but we've been in purgatory for a while now, so I have no room to trash talk in hockey. No room. I am an Eagles fan though, so I mean, Giants thing, my wife is from New York. She's a Giants fan. It all works out.
Yeah. Look, if you start talking about the Cowboys, you can agree that you are not fans of the Cowboys, and exactly you can leave it there. Yeah, but So anyway,
Metal Gear. So
Metal Gear, I think, would be my most favorite. But I gotta say, Jedi Survivor.
Oh yeah,
pretty intense, dude. And of course, I'm going to play Squadrons. I'll play Hera in the Squadrons game. I've already been warned it's an impossible game. But I mean, I think here's the thing. I was horrible at boxing when I started, and now I'm very proficient. I love to learn. So I think it'll be fun for viewers to watch me get good at these games and actually teach some of the other women that I work with in voiceover. And that's a fun thing to watch, I think. So
absolutely.
Well, I think one of the things that I've loved so far, one, when we met and the interaction we've had planning this and everything, is there's so many people in different industries, and we'll just use your industry that you're in, that it's very difficult to contact them. It's very difficult to interact with them or to feel like they're one of us, right? And you have done a fantastic job. And I wanted to throw out a couple names real quick because I'd be remiss if I didn't. Steve Glosson and Teresa Delgado, Steve's on our show all the time, and he said, out of all the people right now in Star Wars, he just feels like you are such a great ambassador. And he used to talk to you with Teresa on different things.
Yeah.
And then Adam Bray, who wrote a lot of the books related to Rebels when they were coming out and all that.
Sure.
Adam's a great friend of the show, and he even sent a message out. I think that he got the opportunity to name your gun, your pistol from
Yes.
Rebels.
Yes.
And I can't remember the
Yes.
name off the top of my head, but he posted it recently. So I just wanted to share those names with you because, it's not often that when we say, hey, we're going to do this interview with this person, and people like that come to us and say, she's fantastic, she's great.
Aw.
And to spend this time with you and to really say, this is solidifying what they've said about you. I just want to say thanks and share their
Of
names with you again
course.
because they wanted me
Yeah.
to say hi. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for mentioning them.
go ahead,
And
Brent.
I want to make sure I get this question in prior to us going off. This is a running gag for anybody that's been on the show for the first time.
Okay.
It all started with Joe's brother, Tony Molinaro, who was making fun of one of my Count Dooku. And basically they were judging my man Count Dooku and the quality of his lightsaber and hilt, because he said he went to like the Sevi's workshop and they had them all laid out, and who would want that curved blade, or who would want that one? And I was like, wait a minute, I really like Count Dooku's lightsaber.
Sure.
And then they called him Stumpy, and he get his head cut off, he got his arms cut off, and then they nicknamed him Stumpy. But the question is, I have to get the lead up. Which lightsaber hilt in the entire Star Wars pantheon do you like the most? Like, just is there one that speaks to you? Is like, what hilt do you like?
Well, there's is it the Seventh Sister? No, it's not the Seventh Sister. She's the Inquisitor. It was the role that Sarah Michelle Gellar played.
What's that, Second Sister?
Second Sister, is that it? Yeah.
In Survivor, in the
No,
in Rebels. In
in
Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah, I think it was season 2, if
okay.
I'm not mistaken. I believe she had this like really crazy red.
Like the helicopter lightsabers?
Yeah, it was something like that.
That's what they got the circle around it, and they can spin around.
Exactly. Yeah, it was akin to the Inquisitors. And yeah, I wish I could remember the exact name of it.
Awesome. I love that you hear new ones. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, look it up because it's pretty awesome. If I'm remembering correctly, and it's possible after the pandemic, sometimes my brain feels like oatmeal. Yeah, dude. Yeah, there we go.
Round with the double blade. So
that seems kind of bananas to me. And of course, the black saber. Dude.
Oh, the dark saber from
Dark Saber,
the Maul dark saber.
The dark saber. Yeah, of course. With
May it rest in peace. May it rest in peace.
Exactly. Yes.
Pieces. Yes. So do you? Is there, not to go off Star Trek? My gosh, Star Wars again.
Wow.
Man,
Joe.
Right there. We've talked a ton about that, but I like to hear some different things, and you've been filling tons of different topics, and I love it. Is there a character, whether it's Wonder Woman or Gamora or Black Canary or Mary Jane, that's your favorite outside of what you do with Star Wars? And did I read correctly that you played Ruth Bader Ginsburg in Rick and Morty?
I did indeed. Yes. There's an episode, it's a trippy episode where they're on a train and all sorts of weird things happen. And I got to play Ruth Bader Ginsburg in that. Wow. I love playing Mary Jane in Spectacular Spider-Man. That was a real privilege. Spider-Man's one of my favorite comic books, and it was an honor to sort of, I don't know, throw my ring in the hat and give my take on Mary Jane. I was grateful for that opportunity, as a nerd and with all my love of storytelling. It was always interesting to me how she feeds his heroism and stands in her power, and in turn helps him do the same, So
that's cool. That's
yeah.
Great. Brent or D-Doc, I know we're getting down to close time before Vanessa has to make a run somewhere. Any last questions before we let this young lady hop away from our stage?
One of my hidden favorite things that you do that I didn't realize till last night, I was on your YouTube channel, the CBS commercials that you do.
Yeah.
I was telling my wife, I was like, listen to this real quick. I'm like, this is who we're interviewing tonight. She knows nothing about Star Wars. I was playing a commercial that you had done, and she's like, that sounds like the voice from the Big Brother commercials on like
Yeah,
CBS.
exactly.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah, I got to do stuff for HGTV for Big Brother, and gosh, I did. There was a show on Fox that I did one Christmas season. It was like a dancing competition show that was also lots of fun. There was a cool show on CBS called Swing Town, which was really interesting. And the guy, I'm going to have to answer this. My neighbor has called me 40 times. I don't know if something's on fire. Give me 1 second. Hello?
We're getting this live. We'll let her talk and do that. And there we go. She's got to answer her neighbor's call, and she's got to hop off the show here in a minute. But I don't know, guys. This has been fantastic. I'm really excited.
One of the big things is like when I saw that it was Autism Speaks with DreamHack, and I want to get back and just like obviously that has become something that's important to me over time with my secondary role. So I'm going to ask her here in a second.
There's a fire on my street, so I think I'm going to have to. Can you? We're live, so this is not cool, but I think there's an emergency. That's why he called like 40 times. Can I just run and check and see if like the hillside's on fire or we say goodbye?
No, go right ahead. Take care of your stuff.
Hold on 1 sec. I wish I had hold music. Think of something 80s. I'll be right back.
Think of something to match that hairstyle. No.
Yeah, no, Brent, I think that's a great question to end on because I think it's a great story and a great reason. And she seems to do this with a lot of things. So it's very cool how much she puts into the community.
Yeah.
And we hope everything's okay with the fire and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Vanessa has to go. She has to go.
I mean, she's in the California area, so you never know if it's just a house fire or if it is the entirety of the surrounding neighborhood with the forest fires. Because I mean, Canada right now is up in flames. Is it still? I don't know.
Hawaii, Canada.
Oh, Hawaii, yeah, Hawaii's been bad too.
Come on, and hey, Star Wars show. This is not the Emperor. He's not doing the World Devastators right now. Okay, it's just bad things happening in the world. That's all. Although the Emperor could have returned.
So, any news topics that we can throw out there while we're waiting?
News topics.
How long until the end of the world again?
A week.
Like 1 week? Is it 1 week? It is 1 week since you looked at me. Turned your head and said, "I'm sorry." No.
I know where you're
Blues
going.
Traveler. Yeah. No, it's not Blues Traveler. It's
It's been
Bare Naked Sisters or Bare Naked Ladies.
Come on,
Brent, you have no idea how many times 6-year-old Dave Doc played that song.
I believe.
First of all, I still don't know.
The fact that you said 6-year-old Dave Doc played that, and like Joe and I were like adults at that time.
It probably was 6, I would say, because I mean, the Smash Mouth song came out at the perfect time for me too. I remember we were going on field trips, just like every person on the bus singing Rockstar when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, while we do have a minute, and if she comes back, she comes back. If she doesn't, it's been an absolute pleasure to have Vanessa.
I mean, her stream is still going, so I mean, I'm keeping my eye down there if she comes back and everything.
As most of our followers know, because of Twitter and Instagram and everything, me and Scott Rifen got a chance to meet. It was crazy. It was a mad dash. We went and had breakfast, took some pictures, talked for a couple hours. It was fantastic. Scott Rifen is one of a kind, and can't say enough good things about that young man. Just we need to plan better so we can all meet up and have fun together. Go ahead.
He was appreciative of my backdrop too. He even said that it's a start. That's I mean, that's how I read it in Scott Rifen deadpan.
Thank you, Brent. It's a start. That's all he said.
No, you gotta say it. It's a start. That's kind of how Scott would have said it. So
and
that's
then
the way I read it anyway.
I wanted to throw out a quick shout out to Jessica and her guests last week.
Oh yeah,
Amy Sturgis and Emily Strand. That was phenomenal. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen to that show, the week before show where it was me, Riley Blanton, Scott Rifen, and Steve Glosson. I mean, I think just 2 shows in a row where great Star Wars stuff going on in both of those. Thanks to all of them for being a part of the show over the last few weeks. fantastic stuff. So wanted to just give a shout out to all of them real quick and say thanks because it was a lot of fun. And while she's gone, I will say this. This young lady has been on Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, Scooby-Doo, Spider-Man, as she said, Avengers, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I don't know if you remember that show or not.
Yep.
I wish she had more time because it said in her IMDb she was on Hot in Cleveland, which if she did do an appearance on that show, could Vanessa have met Betty White? Because that would have been phenomenal.
You got to sneak that one in, Joe. You always get it. You always got to ask about an obscure show. So go ahead. And now, before we move on to, though, what time did you meet Scott Rifen? Did you guys go to breakfast? No,
Okay,
what
so
time did you say it was?
So
7
7
a.m.?
7 a.m.
Dude,
7 a.m.
that
First of all,
stressed me out.
Right. So Scott
That
wakes up at
stressed
like
me out.
4 a.m. So like this is like that's like lunchtime for Scott, right? So that doesn't mean anything to anybody.
If Hayden Christensen asked me to meet him for breakfast at 7 a.m., I'd probably be late for it.
okay,
All right,
well, you'd be
Vanessa's
late for
back
anything,
right now.
D-Doc.
I'm gonna
You
add her
two
back.
would both be late.
D-Doc, you'd be late for anything.
Hey, yeah, sorry, there's a fire truck right outside. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but
Okay.
anyway, apologies for that. My
No,
neighbor was calling like 40 times, and I was like, bro, I'm on a call. I'll call you right back. But like the 50th time, I was like, something's very wrong. I got to take the call, and I'm sorry.
I'm going to shout this out to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Texting works.
No, he was texting.
Oh,
Call me.
okay.
He was texting. Call me. Call me. Call me. Call me. Call me. So
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, what constitutes like stopping a live broadcast? If the hillside's on fire, I kind of got to go. But
You
Yeah,
too.
we mentioned that, right? Because you're out west, so you never know if it's just a small fire or if it's like a giant rager that you need to take.
yeah, no, if I
precautions
need to evacuate.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so what was the final question?
Wait,
So-
yeah, Brent.
So
hit away.
one of the things you mentioned also was the dream hack, and when I was doing some research, I looked at it. So the foundation Autism Speaks. Did
Yes.
you know that like was that part of what took you to DreamHack? And is Autism Speaks one of your foundations? Because I know you like to speak, like you just said, for those that don't have a voice or those that are marginalized. So
Yes.
is Autism Speaks like one that's near and dear to you, or?
I believe it was actually the Autism Society of San
Oh,
Diego.
yeah,
that
actually, there you go.
Yeah, that they raised money for. I, of course, 100%. I've done I've voiced the Special Olympics and narrated those for
I
ESPN.
saw that on your YouTube.
Yeah, there was all kinds of wonderful stuff that I learned from doing that. But yes, of course, I care very deeply about that. I am not on the spectrum, but I know people who are, and I support those causes among many. They're all listed on my I have in my bio on my socials. You can go to find the different charities that I give back to.
I just thought it was awesome. Just I work in an education setting, and I support the special ed departments at the school that I work with.
Oh, great!
My son has a rare genetic condition, which autism is part of. And then I also have a secondary job where I work as a behavior management consultant for individuals that have been identified with autism to try to get them and help them navigate the world. So when I saw that, like I thought like that's awesome that was near and dear. And I also will tie it back to Star Wars. My boy Tech, God rest his soul, right? Like so from Bad Batch, like he was him and 3PO, but 3PO you can kind of tell that 3PO is like because he's an android. But you had a living character that was like very, very reminiscent of somebody with ASD. So I was just curious how. Anyways, I'll stop. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, and I do really think it's important to give back, and that's one of the things that I enjoy about creating these events for different fandoms. That I hope moving forward we'll be able to do that. USO Gaming is another organization, Black Girls Code. There are all sorts of Native American tribal communities that I want to support. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Well, before I say thank you and goodbye, I'm going to ask one snippet of a question. It could probably be a yes or no answer. But did I read that you were in Hot in Cleveland And if you were, did you get to hang out with Miss Betty White?
I was in it, and no, unfortunately, yes. Much like I was able to punch Lando Calrissian in the stomach, I didn't get to meet him either. But sometimes in the world of animation and voiceover, we record things separately and they put it together in post. So I didn't have that honor.
Well, I always bring out the weird things. Even when I was speaking with Ian McDermott, I was bringing out weird things instead of Star Wars stuff. So look, you go take care of not only your phone, but your fire.
There's a bit of an emergency on my hillside, so I'm going to go take care of it. But thank you so much. You guys are my family. I adore you, and I appreciate your patience. And we will all be together again.
One last quick plug: Women Crush Wednesdays on Twitch.
Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned my Twitch channel is Vanessa Marshall 1138 Vanessa Marshall 1138. Yeah,
there it is.
There it is. Yeah,
subscribe. I just subscribed to it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I did yesterday. I just want to.
Oh, cool.
Oh
awesome.
Gosh. All right. Let this young lady take care of her life. Vanessa, thank you. It's been a great pleasure and an honor to have you on, and you've been so great to work with. Thank you, and hopefully our paths will cross again.
Oh, they will. We'll be hanging soon. Hopefully, I want to go to New York City Comic-Con. New York Comic-Con, they have Vader Tots. There's a group of us. We go get Vader Tots together. So you never know.
You got
it. You never know, buddy. Yeah.
Thanks so much, kiddo. Have a good evening. Right. Go take care of all your things.
Thanks. Hey, and D-Doc, congrats on the tiling of your shower. That is.
Thank you.
That was quite an accomplishment. Put that on the gratitude list. You killed it. So.
I appreciate it.
Well done. All right. Lots of love. Take care.
Thank you.
Right, you too.
Bye-bye.
This dude, we're just schmucks here. Like, this guy's got followers galore with his TikTok and his DIY stuff.
You had to one up me though, Brent. You had to say that you subscribed to the Twitch before me, man. And then I had to screw up the first freaking question I asked tonight too.
At least you didn't do do you remember when doing that? That was great. That was great. Right? Like when she said she walks in with Filoni and her heart's in her chest. Like, I mean, anytime anyone that we have of any note comes on, I'm just fearful I'm gonna ask one of those questions.
And we are still live right now, by the way.
We are.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to say I did not end the broadcast.
Headless Ned's been riding along with us, and Headless Ned, I think between all the craziness of stuff we just went through with Vanessa, you've got yourself lined up. We knocked out a bunch of questions you don't even have to ask now. You can just hang and talk about other things. So, great young lady. I love what she's done. She's prolific in her video games, prolific in her voiceover stuff in animation. And you know what? Just truly down to earth. A person who everybody I spoke to said she was great. And meeting her at ICCC and then having her on here, we've reached out to plenty of people. And there's plenty of people who are like, no, we don't do that kind of stuff. And she was ready to go. And we had some hiccups along the way of timing. But other than that, she's been great to work with. And I can't wait for us to cross paths again. Guys, we have 1 week till Ahsoka. Not going to keep us long. We're all kind of ramped up for that, excited for that. I think it's going to be fun. I think we're all going to enjoy that. And I'm not even going to get myself to D-Doc's level of saying it's going to be the greatest Star Wars thing ever.
Are you there, D-Doc? You're there?
After the Hayden Christensen commercial, it was game over for me, Brent. You can't even talk me off this hype of the hype train that I'm on right now. I'm cruising. Alfie's throwing.
I know Alfie is feeding Alfie in our text. So the people that are listening, Alfie in our group text is fanning that flame hard for everybody that's in our group text.
Yeah, like in a movie when there's like a train just pumping and then there's no like the camera angle where you can just see the wheels spinning. That's my hype train I'm on right now.
I'll go one step further.
And Alfie's pouring the coal into the fire.
It's Back to the Future 3 when they throw the extra bombs in there. He's in that second bomb. He just threw that second bomb in today. I'm sure sometime this weekend there's going to be that third bomb that's going to make your train go, 88 miles an hour so we can get to 1.21 gigawatts of energy?
1.21
gigawatts?
I mean, one thing that we've been noticing is that the marketing for this show is really, seems to
Kicking in.
be built different than some of the other shows. I mean, all of these shows have had their marketing and we always notice them. But I mean, I'm seeing Ahsoka stuff everywhere. It's like I'm driving and it's like those electronic billboards that will switch. It's like I just see Ahsoka on them constantly.
I honestly I don't think I've seen it like this. And I want to go to, I'm going to say it. This, I believe, is Chapek. Right? Or
so?
Iger, not Chapek. This is
Iger.
Chapek. This is Iger versus Chapek.
Yeah.
I want to say that he knows where he's going. Like, he knows that it's failing. He knows that he needs to do something. So he's kicking money into it to get the subscriptions up. I don't think that they put that much thought into it before, and it wasn't doing or it was growing and they didn't care because it was so new. But now that it's stalling and everything else is stalling, I want to say that this is just a strategy, because I don't remember this for Obi-Wan. I don't remember this for Boba Fett. I don't remember this for the first Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And that was right around COVID, like right before COVID. I don't remember having this much pub other than the super fans and the super nerds like us talking about it. I don't remember having it on TNT. Alfie took a picture of it today. TNT in his break room had the Master and Apprentice commercial on.
Yep.
That didn't happen for any of those other shows in my mind.
And Headless Ned just threw in another fire on a log on the fire. He says they're doing it that way because the actors can't help promote, which, let's face it, there's no Good Morning America stop. There's no Jimmy Kimmel stop. There's no any of those things. So they've got to put it out there somewhere. And besides us guys sitting in our basement doing podcasts, how many other people pay attention and know? So
true. Interesting.
That's good thought there, Headless.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but I don't. Even with that, they didn't even. It was like when the show came out, it wasn't like it is right now. Now, obviously, as you get closer to the show, the marketing will ramp up a little bit more. But they've been doing a lot of Disney Plus as a whole marketing, not just the Ahsoka. Now they throw the Ahsoka into the Disney Plus marketing, but I've seen a lot of Disney Plus marketing as a whole.
I think it's because they sat down and watched the screenings of it and they said, yo,
we got a winner.
They said this show is bussin'. They said we need to slap the billboards up for this one. While
you are way younger than the two of us, that still was cringy to me.
I never used that word, but that's
why it was cringy.
Man.
You could tell you never use that word.
Listen, when you're
not flow out of your mouth.
When you're riding the hype train, you don't know what you're gonna say.
Gosh,
I can only be let down from here, and I don't think I will be. I think it's going to be great. I really do. I think Filoni's going to pull some magic out of his hat on this one, so I'm excited for it. And it's around the corner. I mean, where was the last?
I love Brent's hand gestures when he's muted.
Well, I wiped my screen because like my beard had water and it got all over my keyboard. I think it's going to be good too. What I have the problem with with all of fandoms is there's the segment, and because they're keyboard warriors, there's the vocal population that's going to take to it and say, this is not my Star Wars. This is terrible. This is not my throne. They did this wrong, and they did this wrong. And how could they treat Ahsoka that way?
Are we learning that Brent really is a voiceover actor?
Maybe. He might be. I mean, here's what I will say, though, is it's like, I feel like my vision of Star Wars fandom, because of this podcast and because of the ICCC and everything, has totally changed, because it's like, I see comments and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I just like don't care about it, because you meet all these. We just had Vanessa Marshall on and just chopped it up with her for an hour, like, and just like, you can have, from people like Rick Prince or Headless Ned. We had Headless Ned on the podcast once, and I met him at ICCC. I feel like I've known him for like, I don't know how long. It's like, the guys from Hyperspace Heroes and everything. It's like, I have such a better view of what Star Wars fandom is than what it might be perceived to be, because of this podcast and just because of the people we've met and all this stuff that, we've been lucky enough to do on these shows. So the keyboard warriors can, whatever. I won't say any bad words.
While I want to be in that camp, I go into every show saying that I'm not going to be affected by them. And I always get affected by them. And it's because I was Obi-Wan amazing? No. But like I liked it. There were parts that I could sit here. I love that little Leia. I want little Leia to have some more information. I want that to grow. I want to see little Leia adventures, the Chronicles of Little Leia. But yeah, I mean it could be good. Like it could, like because she was powerful. She was awesome. She could break out star, stole the show.
You could have a live action kids show at one point in the future. There's nothing wrong with that.
I doubt that because they're backing off on everything because it's not.
Princess Leia could be the next Hannah Montana. Come on.
Ooh.
But she wear the wig though. Speaking of that, man, I tell you what, Princess Diarist, the book that I just listened to, which is to me the same as reading, except I can get more things done. Carrie Fisher did the reading of the book. She narrated her book, and it was all of her notes and all of her thoughts from back in the time of making the original Star Wars. It was fantastic. I mean, if you guys like, D-Doc, I told you to listen to the IMC 3PO.
And I did. And
we
I'll
know
do this one.
the Billy D. Williams one is coming out next year, which I cannot wait for.
Is
that
he
one,
narrating it?
I'm hoping he's narrating it.
I think that's the only way I'll listen to it.
Oh man, I can't wait for that. But there's one chapter.
Mark Thompson doing his best Lando,
which he does a fantastic one. But there's one chapter where it's just like all of her poems and notes from that time, and Billy Lord reads them all, which sometimes I feel like, whoa, am I tripping out with Carrie Fisher here right now? Because some of that stuff was kind of wild, but the story leading up to it and the story after it was fantastic. And she read that. So yeah, just throwing that out there. But you know, we're just talking about all kinds of fun Star Wars stuff now. So
any toy time? No complaints about Hasbro at the moment.
Well,
I mean, I recently did a visit to Target again today after the job I was at, and the $55 Luke Sky or $55 Cad Bane and oh my God, Cobb Vanth is all of them are still stocked, and the $45 Luke Skywalker is all stocked still. So no one is buying the essentially $50 price point Black Series figures.
And at the same time, Alfie bought like 6 characters for less than $20 at Ollie's the other day. So he was really excited about that.
I think people realize the cheat code for just waiting and being the first to get it on sale. But I mean, you're probably not going to be able to see it on my phone. But I did see the first Scout Trooper helmet Black Series on the shelf, which that thing is freaking dope. Dope?
Dope is okay. Dope is okay because that sounded like you. Throwing bussin' in did not sound like you. Like it was cringy. I'm sorry. Like
I wanted it to be.
It's straight fire. It's straight lit. It flicked your bick then, right? Like because that was also cringy.
$124 for that Scout Trooper helmet. So you figure the cost of 4 Black Series figures, you could get a movie quality Scout Trooper helmet.
At the same time, what is like they started out $99 and now they're up to $124. That's about okay. You can shake your head, but I feel like that's right within par for the course as far as the way inflation and the way that everything's going.
It's true. I mean, it's like you can feel better about paying the $125 though for something like that. Like if my Mando helmet was $125, I'd be fine with it because that's like a piece that people see and they're like, "Yo, let me see that." Like people think it's cool. Like, you know, it's like people want to try it on the helmet. I'm like, "Oh, you could wear it, whatever." It's like, I don't know. It's different. The Scout Trooper helmet also has a feature where it can lift up. You know, so like you can lift it up kind of as a visor, if I'm not mistaken. That might be false advertising, but I'm pretty sure. So
all those people who pay $124 plus shipping and handling are going to be ticked at you, D-Doc, if it doesn't open up.
You can email ruletheGalaxySW@gmail.com with your complaints.
Not the time when I want you to give out our email address. So no, everything's kind of calm here on mine. Yeah,
a toy time thing that like it has no Star Wars, but a buddy of mine who is a huge Star Wars fan may check in every now and then. He bought his kids Playmobil Back to the Future, and it's the
Really?
it's the DeLorean with Marty and the Doc, and there's the dog, and he was playing around with it and sent us a picture. They also sell with it a holographic. You know how you turn it, the picture of Marty and like it's the picture of Marty and the brother and sister disappearing, like a holographic
Oh,
picture that disappears. It's
the dog
it
was
was pretty cool.
Einstein, by the way, and his other dog was Copernicus.
Okay, fine. Einstein was the one that was in the future in '85, and
Yes.
Copernicus was the one that was in '50.
55. Yes.
Whatever. Okay, I'll add that to the list of trivia.
Yeah. Hey, for anybody in Central Indiana who knows somebody who
knows
wants to be in
somebody who-
trivia, Brent and I are going to start doing some trivia hosting in September, October,
Couple
November.
weeks.
Correct?
Yeah, a couple weeks is the first one, right?
Wow.
We got to have that meeting first, but
Yeah. Yeah. So be prepared. You're going to hear a lot of trivia talk from me and Brent because we got to prep, and I think I'm going to let him do all of his funny voices, and I'm just going to sit back and take all the
Hey.
answers from people.
free food. He had me at free food. Like you had me at hello, he had me at free food.
I'm all in. Free food and drinks, it's all good stuff right there. So, do you guys have any other Star Wars related topics? I'm trying to think. I don't. Besides reading books, I'm clear on everything. I've been doing a lot of reading. I would say in the last few months, I rewatched Clone Wars. I rewatched Rebels. I rewatched the Kenobi series. And I, like I said, I did the Heir to the Empire trilogy. I'm on Shadows of the Empire now, starting back into that. So just doing some, Star Wars housekeeping between shows.
Doc, have you finished Rebels?
No.
No, I knew that was. Have you even done any extra episodes?
Last night I did a lot of YouTube summaries and backgrounds. I mean, I watched like two and a half to 3 seasons of the show. I'm an idiot for where I stopped because at this point I need to start it over again where I'm at right now.
Has he started talking to the wolves yet?
No, I don't think so, actually.
Then
no.
you need to continue watching.
Yeah.
I
need to.
One thing that I like about Jedi powers, and one thing that I wish they would continue to do, and I wish they could do this in a different way, was they slowly tried to introduce each person having something slightly different as far as a Jedi power. Quinlan Voss, like he had that, like he touches something, he can see the objects past. You have with Ezra can tap into animals, and Ezra can talk and communicate with animals, and they show that in the first couple of seasons. Like the first season, he taps into like the big bats on that one cave, old base planet, and has them go after the Inquisitor, and then it just continues to grow from there. So that's a running theme is Ezra's connection to animals and like how he can kind of speak and read animals just by making that Force connection with them.
You haven't even gotten to the World Between Worlds yet.
No,
Dude,
I away from
But you saw Bendu, right? I love Bendu.
I know about the World Between Worlds from secondhand talk. I know about Ezra going off with the whales and Thrawn between secondhand talk, but I need to finish that. I need to find my last episode that I was watching and start. And if I feel like I need to go back, I will. But I actually saw a guy on TikTok the other day and posted a great video where he's like, hey, here's a list of the episodes you should watch from Star Wars Rebels, and it listed all the seasons. He's like, these are most likely plot points that might be showing up in the Ahsoka show. And he gave a big list, and I screenshotted it right away because, I mean, you guys, before I was on the podcast, were the reason that I started grinding Clone Wars. And in the beginning of it, I'm just like, I don't really like this. Like, I don't understand. And then I was so locked in to the point where there was episodes where I had like tears in my eyes. So like, I get it. I just need to put the time in to like sit down and watch Rebels. Cause I know that once I lock in, I'll do it. But the problem is my ADD. I'm all over the place. I'll be like editing a YouTube video. Then I'll just like be thinking of a project. Then I'll be watching something stupid. And it's like, I need to just settle down and be like, this is what I'm doing. I got to do it in the next week. Were
you watching a Headless Net Stark video, or were you watching somebody else? Because he's mad at you that you were cheating on his video because he's got a video just like what to watch.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to go watch it then.
Yep. See, you set yourself up for it.
Bindu is like, so I hate the World Between Worlds because I think it's a cheap gimmick. I love Bindu. Bindu is the creature on the Rebel base planet that they do for season 3 and season 4, who basically puts Kanan back in his place, who helps the Rebels.
Does he look like a big ox?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to that point then on the show, actually.
So I mean, that's a little weird and not everybody, but I love he's the wisdom. He's like he's a force being, but he's not. This is where I think the concept of the Gray Jedi comes from, because he reads the force and he can use the force for power for good or power for bad. He sits there in the middle and rides the pine. But again, he puts Kanan in his place. He's kind of like Kanan's extra mentor when Kanan loses his way. If Bindu wasn't there, I don't think Kanan would have been as connected to the force or as willing to grow after season 2 when he got blinded.
Yeah,
Bindu's the one who kind of was like, dude, you got to grow up a little bit. Stop being a pansy, or stop doing this, stop doing that. You got to grow up. And the way that he did it was teaching him, like, it was leading like Yoda led. It was leading like Luke led in Last Jedi. It was leading him with that, like, through lumps on his head and telling you'll do it. Just get over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get back on it this week. I mean, because I'm very hyped for this show, just because number one is just because I love Ahsoka, but like I know that the Rebels characters and those plot points are probably going to be important to this story. And now, do I think it'll be a less enjoyable experience? Like, I think I'll still enjoy the show even if I don't get to finish it in time, but I need to, because it's the one piece of Star Wars that everyone talks about where I'm just like, other than what's the Resistance show, that's the only one I haven't watched a second of.
Yeah,
but Rebels is the only thing that I just haven't finished for Star Wars, and I don't know why. It's like this monkey on my back. I need to get it. I need to figure it out this week. So.
If you're not a sequel trilogy person, then the Resistance isn't gonna sit with you. It's so I liked it. I really like season 1. Season 2 was rushed and they just had to finish it. It was like they bought the season before they realized the backlash was going to happen.
It's good action and color and activity for kids. I would say kids are going to be like, oh, there's funny characters, there's slapstick humor, there's fighters, all that kind of stuff. So I think kids probably like Resistance way more than us, but hey, it's not our entry point. It's somebody else's entry point. So, fellas, I'm going to shut us down. I've got busy few days ahead of me. I can't thank you guys enough for always being there, always making this thing great, and having great questions and great action when we've got guests on like Vanessa. Can't believe it. Ahsoka starts next week. It's crazy, but thanks. And any last words from either one of you guys?
One real quick one. I recently got a box of the Topps Chrome Star Wars cards, and they're hard to find at Target. So I've been holding on to it. They're still in the pack, and I got the okay from Mrs. Doc that I can live stream on our YouTube channel. I was going to tell you, I was thinking me and little Doc could sit here and open up the cards. And if anyone joins in the comments, they can feel free to do it. But I think there's a live stream maybe within the next week or so, probably around like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'll do a little card opening and see if me and him find any cool cards in the boxes there.
That sounds great. Yeah. And I look forward to watching. I love Joey did one of those recently with Jack Harvey, which, by the way, Jack, we're all supporting you. I know things aren't going well for you this season. We'll get you back out there. We'll get you going out in the IndyCar circuit. But yeah, he did one of those, and it was great just watching him open packs and making each other jealous of what they found in the different packs. So I say go for it, plan it out, put it out there. People will love to watch it. Brent, how about you? Anything good to finish on?
No, I mean, same old. Gen Con, I was tired, but I tried to shoot some video, but I got mad at myself, so I didn't finish the video. So I'm just going to delete them, and they're going to be lost to the ether. I wanted to film some stuff. I sent you guys some videos, so if D-Doc wants to throw that up there, he can for the YouTube. But yeah, Gen Con, which is really cool, was my first experience big convention like that. There's 70,000 people in the entire convention center is taken up in Indianapolis. Because it's 70,000 people, they went ahead and extended their contract until the end of the decade. So there's at least 7 more of those. There's tabletop gaming where you get to play. What I have heard but didn't necessarily realize, if you have a badge, you can play 24 hours a day.
Oh,
so they leave the
24
gaming.
hours.
They leave the gaming area open. Like the sales floor closes at like 6 o'clock to let the vendors go do their like vendor meetings, because people have meetings and they do deals and stuff like that. Let them have their day because they're there from 8 to 6. That's a long day to be in their vendor booths. But if you're a gamer, they will open it up parts of the convention center for 24 hours. Because the Legion terrain just sat out, and one of the guys who was a TO had never been to Gen Con, and I hadn't either, and he was like, so we just leave this here? They're like, yeah. Like, okay. So like if I had my Legion stuff and I was living in a hotel or whatever, I could walk over and I could play till 2-3 o'clock in the morning after everybody was done with the tournament on the terrain that they had set up there.
The amount of Monster and Red Bull that went through that weekend, I'm sure, was unfathomable.
Which is also why in the rules and the player packet, they say, hey, be mindful of this, be mindful of that. They actually said in there, please take a shower throughout the weekend.
Okay.
I love it.
We'll end on that. We have to remind people to take showers. Hey, folks, it has been great. D-Doc, thanks for always setting these up. Brent, thanks for coming on and hammering with some great questions. Love doing this. Loved having Vanessa Marshall on. She was fantastic. Everybody, go support all the things that Vanessa's doing. Go to her page. She's got tons of things listed on there. We didn't even talk about all of them. She's going to be at a lot of cons coming up soon, all that. Her Twitch, all that. So just go do that because she's a nice lady and she does good for the community. And you know what? For all the people who are following along, who are listening, who are watching, and the comments, thank you to everybody there. We'll have the podcast out tomorrow. But until next week, until Ahsoka's here, may the Force be with you.